Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, I want to do a comparison between three 30-inch scale baritones, or otherwise known as bass sixes, that I have in my collection. So, I've got this, which is the infamous Squier Jazzmaster baritone in the Antigua burst, or otherwise known as Snot burst. Now, I know it's not a popular color, but I'm really a big fan of it. So I want to start off by doing some sound demos of this, and then I'll jump into my other two. So let's hear what this sounds like going through some high gain. I'm using the Otto Audio 1111. These are the settings, and I've got it set up in mono stereo mode. And then for the tuning for these guys, I'm using drop E in all of them. I've got a custom gauge set over here that's going from 20 to 85. So that's what I'm using across these three guitars to give me the drop E tuning. So let's jump in and see what it sounds like. And to just quickly interject here, if you're new to the channel or if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me and the channel. And also don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Okay, let's jump back in. Okay, so now let's take a listen to the Gear4Music G4M 638. I'll play it in the sound demo, and we're going to talk a bit more about this guitar a bit later in the video. And then now, let's take a listen to the Aria Pro Jet Baritone. Now, this is a real sleeper. It's really underrated. But let's first take a listen to what it sounds like within a demo, and then we'll talk more about these guitars. So let's hear what they sound like within the context of a mix now. So I'm going to play back a loop with some drums and bass and jump between the three guitars so you can hear what they sound like. And just quickly taking a look at these waveforms over here, analyzing the sort of output from the pickups. With the Jazzmaster, you've got that single coil Jazzmaster pickup, which is a bit more lower output. Then you've got the Gear4Music humpug over here. As you can see, it's about a medium output pickup. And then when you move on to the Aria Pro, it's got a much hotter humbucker pickup over there. So if you're looking for something a bit hotter for the stock pickups, the Aria will suit you well there. If you're looking for medium output, the Gear4Music's quite good. And then obviously, if you like that single coil tone, that Jazzmaster really fills it with that sort of gnarly tone that you get. Okay, so that was how the three bass sixes sound. Now let's talk more about the pros and cons of each one. Starting off, let's go over the Squier Jazzmaster baritone. Now, obviously, this guy has been discontinued and they're very hard to find. And what really made these guys popular were obviously Loathe, who were using them to tune down low and were doing some crazy cool stuff with it. So that's really what sparked the interest on these, and that's what made me try to look for one and find one. So I was lucky enough to have found one, and then they got discontinued. But if you really see one of these, definitely grab it. What I really like is between all these other bass sixes over here, this has the best neck. It's really nice and slim and feels very comfortable. And also, you've got these gnarly Duncan Jazzmaster pickups that really have their own unique tone. So when you listen to them, they sort of jump out quite in the mid-range there and quite spiky, but they really sound very nice within a mix when you start adding everything in together. Now, talking about the cons, what is a bit weird is this bridge over here. If you need to intonate it, you actually need to jump these strings off to get to the screw underneath there to change that, if you want to change the intonation and then pop the string back on. So that's really not that great. But what is really nice about the bridge is it isn't a string through body. Now, if you've got a string through body and you add that extra length, for example, with the G4M and then reverse headstock, you really need some long strings to fit in that. So you don't really have that problem that much on this bass six over here. Most strings, especially longer scale baritone or bass six strings, fit on it quite nicely. So that's really not a problem. But overall, I'm a big fan of this guitar, and if you see one, definitely grab one if you see it on the used market. Now let's move over onto the Gear4Music G4M 638. First off, what I really like about this is the aesthetic. I'm a huge fan of white body guitars with black pick guards. I've had a few of these in the past, or other guitars that are white and black, and I'm really a big fan of that. So that's my first big one with this guy. Now, let's talk about the cons. So the cons on this is the neck is slightly a bit more chunkier than the Jazzmaster. It's not bad, but a bit chunkier. And then you've got the string through body over here and the reverse headstock. And what I found is you need really long strings to fit in this guy, especially if you're going all the way to the 5th and 6th. If I spin this over here, and I'll show you, I actually had an issue where I was using a 62 over here and the string just wasn't long enough. So I actually had to use a 62 bass string. So that's why you see the ball end is a bit different over there. So you really got to make sure that you've got strings that are long enough to fit on this guy all the way. So that's the big one con that I have with this guitar. But other than that, sounds great. Everything works quite well. Stock wise, it comes with a set of 24 to 85. And I found that was just a bit too thick for the drop E tuning that I wanted to use. So I've just put on some thinner gauges and that really made it feel a lot better with drop E in this tuning. And then lastly, the Aria Pro Jet Baritone. Now this is a super underrated 30-inch baritone or bass 6. What I really like about it is you've got this offset body where this is pushed back a bit. The bridge is also pushed back a bit. And when you're sitting with this, it's really comfortable and it doesn't feel as long as some other longer scale baritones or bass 6s. The reach is really nice with this guitar. Now, also what I like is the inclusion of a trem bar. This is really fun to use. You can do some little whammy dives or trem dives with this and just really works well. You can come up with some different ideas that you might not have otherwise had if you're just using a sort of fixed tail bridge guitar. Now on the con side, I don't really have too many cons on this guitar. On the neck side, it's a bit chunkier compared to the Jazzmaster, but it's still super comfortable. It's a bit thinner than the Gear4Music, but a bit thicker than the Jazzmaster. But other than that, it's really a great 30-inch baritone. So that was just a very quick video on the 3 30-inch scale baritones that I have in my collection, or bass 6s. And I just wanted to do an A/B comparison for you so you could hear what they sound like and just mention some of the pros and cons. Like I mentioned with this guy, it is super underrated. Definitely give it a bash if you can and try it out. Or if you see a Jazzmaster on the used market, definitely grab one. They're very hard to come by. So that's it for this video. I hope you like it. Leave some comments below on what you think, what 30-inch scale baritones you're using, what tunings you're using, and the pros and cons. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next video.